For lesson 2 for After Effects, we're going to be talking about creating a basic animation using some presets and some effects. So the first thing you need to do is go ahead and download the needed files. Whenever you get down to the needed files, you're going to see that there is two different kinds. One is going to look like this, lesson 2, a mountain scene, and it says assets, and the other one is going to be lesson 2, dog and snow. You are going to need both of them. We're going to do two smaller projects instead of one lesson project today, so you will need them both. So what you're going to do is once you download them, we are going to create a new folder. I suggest making on your desktop, on your documents, in your photos folder. You can put them anywhere. Don't use your OneDrive or your Adobe Cloud right now. It's going to be a little bit harder to pull them in and out of. So let's just keep them somewhere simple. And then after we're done with the assignment, you can move them into wherever you normally save stuff to. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here to my File Explorer, and I'm going to go to File and New and open a new window just so I can see what I'm doing here. And then I'm going to go to my desktop. New folder, and I'm going to call this AE Lesson 2. And we're going to move both of those files into there. But first, I want to unzip this file right here. You can see that it has a zipper on it. Like I've said in the past, that with zip files, it condenses your files. So it makes it easier for you to be able to, give them to somebody else, to be able to save them because they are going to be compressed, or to email them or do anything like that with it. So with the zipper, we do just need to unzip it. Now, you can also zip files if you're creating something like a video for one of your history classes, English classes, whatever, and you need to be able to put multiple video files in there, which can get rather large. So you can grab a file, and I'm going to show you how to do that as well. So first, let's unzip this one. So you're going to come right here, click on that file, and you'll see that there's a pink extract at the top, and you're just going to click on it and then extract all, and it'll say like, oh, hey, here's what's in here, and say extract. And then it's going to open another window. I'm not going to pull it out of here. I'm actually going to just scroll up to the top of my downloads, which it's not saving in there. So I'm going to do it one more time, and I will do it from that other folder, I guess. Okay, so here they are. So I can go back one folder right here to downloads, and I could be able to see it, but I'm still not seeing it. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I'm just going to, this lesson 2 mountain scene, I'm just going to drag it in and drop it. And then I'm also going to drag that dog over and drop it. So we want the file that does not have a zipper on it. If it does have a zipper, whenever you start trying to open these in After Effects, it's not going to allow you. Now from the other way though, like I said, if you have a folder you want to zip, you can select it and come up to Share and Zip. And as you can see, it's zipping everything in it. Now it will not replace the file that you currently zipped. It'll keep that one, but it'll make a second file that shows that it has the zipper on it. Okay, so now here's that InDesign file. You can see it says CIB 2022, just like it did down there. So now there's the zip file. Now you can always go in and see what's in them. The only thing you can't do is be able to pull those out into another program. Okay, so let's get started with After Effects. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into After Effects, and we're going to do New Project. And I'm going to go up here to my window, and everybody right now is on probably the standard workspace. It should look sort of like this one. We are going to change it up a little bit today. We're going to go ahead and go to Window Workspace, and we're going to do Essentials Graphics. It's going to give us some of those presets over here that we want to be able to work with. Now, the only problem with this setup is you do have this Essentials Graphics panel, which takes up a little bit more room. All I'm going to do is move my cursor right onto the line between Essentials Classic and Composition. I'm just going to downsize it a little bit. That way it gives us a little bit more space. We're not going to be using this right now, so I'm just going to leave it there and kind of have it downsized. Okay, Over here in the project panel, I'm going to right click. I'm going to select it first so I get that nice blue line. I'm going to right click and do import file. And I'm going to find that dog and snow file from my desktop that I just moved right here and hit import. Okay, so now he's in here. And to create a new composition and have something on our timeline that we can work with, all you have to do is click on this file right here in project and pull it down. And there he is. Now, this is a still image, so he's not moving. So if you do this, you're going to see that he doesn't move or run or anything. That's okay. That's what we wanted. We are going to make it snow on him though. So we're going to come up here to layer and new and solid. Now, sometimes this one will be grayed out if you're not on the right thing or whatever. If that's ever the case, you can come down here to the bottom as well. Click in this empty space of your timeline and do new and solid here as well. And it'll open the same thing. Okay, we're going to name this one Snow. And we don't need to change any of this because what it's doing is it's connecting to the layer above it. And so it's going to make it the same size. You do want to change your color to black if it's not already. So just click on this little square and down here in the bottom, type all zeros. That's 6 zeros. And that's going to give you black, and hit OK. And then hit OK again. Now remember, at any point in this, if I'm going too fast or you need to redo a step, just feel free to pause and come back to whatever we were working on, okay? Now let's go ahead and save. So we're going to come up to File and Save As, and Save As again. And you're going to find that AE Lesson 2 file. And this one's going to be called your last name underscore AE Lesson 2A. Okay, so since we're doing 2, we'll just do A and B and hit save. Okay, so now what we have to do is we are going to turn this black layer into snow. So we're going to create, we're going to use an effects and preset to do that. So over here on your right hand side in this panel, we're looking for the effects and presets right here. And we're going to click on that. And in this little magnifying glass, we're going to type in the word snow. Now you'll see it gives you some different options. This one up here is for text. This one is called CC Snowfall. It's a simulation. You can do this one of two ways. You can either click it and drop it on here, or you can click it and drop it on the layer itself. I always suggest clicking and dropping on the layer itself. Yes, it's a little further to go, but if you have something else open on your screen and you don't realize that, like a smaller layer, like a smaller design, it could link to that. So this way we're telling it exactly where to go. So you're going to click on CC Snowfall and drag it down and put it right on the top of the word snow. How do you know it worked? One, you should see some little white dots in this black box. They're kind of hard to see, but two, you should also see this effects control right here. Okay. Now we need to open our modes. So just like we used in Photoshop before, we can also do blend modes in After Effects. So you're going to come right here where it says source name. Right click on source name and go to columns and modes. If modes is already open, it'll just show a check mark here and you're good to go. But mine is not, so I'm going to click on modes. Then on the snow layer, once you have those modes open, right here where it says normal, I'm going to do a drop down and I'm going to change it to screen. Now you should be able to see your dog. And if you look super, super close, you may see a couple little snowflakes in any of these dark areas, but we don't see them quite yet. So we're going to make them so we can see them. So in the effects panel, right over here, your effects control, let's change the opacity to 100. It's right here, opacity. Just click on the 50 and change it to 100 and hit tab. Then we're going to go to background illumination, do a drop down. And where it says influence, we're going to scrub it. And what scrub means is you're going to put, you can see my cursor is a big pink arrow right now, but if I move my cursor over the number it turns into a pointing finger, and it actually has two little arrows on each side, which is a little hard to see when it's on the number. But if you click and drag, once it turns into that cursor, whoops, if you click and drag, that's called scrubbing. So I'm going to scrub all the way to the left, or I'm going to click and drag all the way to my left until I get down to 0, 0. Yes, you could have simply typed in 0, 0, but I wanted to show you how to scrub. You should now start seeing more of these little snowflakes pop up. Okay, let's increase the number of flakes and the size. So right here on flakes, you're going to just scrub again. So make sure your cursor turns into the little pointed finger. Click on there and you can drag to the right or scrub to the right, and you're going to see more and more of them pop up. Now, how many is up to you? How much do you want your poor little dog to be freezing out in the snow? Okay. Same thing with size. Scrub it until they get a little bit bigger so you can see them a little better. Easily can put them into a blizzard. And then if you go down about 3, you're going to see speed, and we're going to change that speed to 300. So I just clicked on it, type in 300 and hit tab. Okay, now I'm going to come down here to the blank area in my timeline and just click it. And then I'm going to hit my space bar for play, and it's going to start playing it. You can also come over here to preview and hit this play button if your space bar is not working, and it should play for you. Now, one of the things that was brought up in class the other day is, see this little green bar that's coming across? That's just rendering it so that it'll actually play at the right speed. That green bar has to make it all the way across before it works correctly. It may be glitchy before then. Now, one of the problems that's going to take forever is because if you look at this right now, we're not at the right amount of time. So I'm going to stop my play, and I'm going to come up here and click on the word project. Then where it says lesson snow and it has composition right here, it's the little square with the red and white. I'm going to right click and do composition settings. And I don't want this to be 50 minutes long. I want it to be like 10 seconds long. Okay, so I'm going to type in, I highlighted it all, and I'm going to type in 1000, so 1000, and tab. And it's going to take us down to 10 seconds and hit OK. Now you can see that green line just went right across it, and it'll only play for 10 seconds now. There we go. So the next thing we need to do is render it so you can turn this in. Now, I'm going to do 2 different ways, so just watch along the first time. Then if you have problems in the future, you can always come back to this if you need it to. So the first way to render, I'm going to make sure I'm on my composition layer right here on my project panel. And the first way to render is the way that I don't suggest that you do unless you are having problems. If you're having problems, then this will be the easiest way for you to do it. Okay, so you're going to go to Add Render Queue. Again, do not follow these steps. This is here so that you know if you get into a problem, you can come back and fix it. So add to render queue, and you can see they pop up down here on the bottom. Output module, if I do the drop down, I'm going to choose 264 match render settings 40. And then in this one right here, I'm going to do the drop down, and I'm going to click on the blue letters, and I'm going to tell it to save to that AE lesson 2 file that we already created. Once you change those 2 things, you just hit render. Okay, but that's not how we render queue for most of the stuff in this class. So let's do it the correct way, and I need everybody to do it along with me. So we'll go up to composition, add to Adobe Media Encoder queue, which is right here. Give it a second. If yours is taking a little bit longer because your computer is running a little bit slower, that's completely okay. Just pause the video and come back to it as soon as it's done. Okay. It will then pop up a second window, and you have to wait until it shows your project right here in this queue. So there it is. And mine actually has 2 in here because I clicked it twice. So I'm just going to go ahead and I select it, right click, and I can remove it. Yep, that's okay. Okay, so here it is, lesson 2, dog and snow. So we're going to do the drop down right here. Make sure this says H264 right there. And if we've already saved in class, then these should already be pretty much set up for you. The second one should say YouTube 720. Again, remember this is all the way at the bottom right there. The third one, you're going to click on the words and you're going to go to your AE Lesson 2 file. Again, make sure you name it. eHouse _ yours should be your last name, Lesson 2A, just like that. And you'll notice right below it, it will say an MP4, which is exactly what we want. And we're going to hit save. So now we've told it how we want it to save and where we want it to save. And you must click this little green arrow right here to actually get it to save. Just because you put in here and you hit save does not mean it rendered it. So we're going to hit right here. And you want to watch this box down here. As it's rendering, if you see the rainbow in here, you know you did something wrong. So you can see ours is rendering just fine. It's only 10 seconds. It should render pretty quickly and all done. So now you can go to that file. And there it is. And now you can just play your dog running in snow. Okay, so you'll go ahead and submit that one. Then we're going to do the second one. So what I'm going to do is instead of closing this, because it does take it a second to load whenever we reopen it, I'm just going to press my little minimize. And I'm going to minimize this one as well. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do File, New Project, New Project. It's going to ask me if I want to save. Yep, go ahead and save. We've already saved it, so. Okay, for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to play with some text presets. So what you need to do is come up here to New Composition from Footage and click on that button right there. And we're going to go into this mountain scene assets. Double click on it and you're going to select them both. So you can drag a little square over them or press shift and select them both and hit import. Why are we doing it this way? Because this little screen is going to pop up. It says new composition from selection. What this does is allows us to pick one of those two movies that we just pulled up and choose which one is going to be what we want it to be. Okay, so I want it to say mountain scene right here, single composition at the top, and then under options, we want mountain scene because we want that to be our main video. Still duration, we're going to change this to 10 seconds again. So type in 1000 and hit tab. We're going to add everything else, leave everything else the way it is and hit OK. Now this is what you should see. So when it pops up, you should have your mountain scene right here. Here's all of your composition in your two videos, and then they've already put them on here for us. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is go ahead and save this. So File, Save As, and remember that this is going to be your last name, and I'm just going to click on the one we did earlier and just change it from an A to a B, just so I don't have to retype it all, but it's last name AE Lesson 2B, and hit save. Right now it's going to be an After Effects project. So there it is. Now, the problem with this is we need our snow on the top. So I want you to come down here to your empty area in your timeline and click on snow and drag it up. So now all you see is the snow. Now, our footage is a little too long. So what we're going to do is we're going to come right here to our timestamp. So right here and make it blue by clicking on it. And we're going to change this to 815. So 8 seconds, 15 frames. That's right about where our mountain scene ends. The video ends. So we're just going to take it right there and end it. Now to crop it, and just to crop this entire composition, we're going to press the letter N like in eHouse on your keyboard. Now, if we wanted to crop just one video, we're going to do that in a future lesson, but this one will crop just that whole thing. Okay, we could go in and change the mode of this layer, the snow layer, like we did earlier, but we're going to do it in a different way this time. So I'm going to go back to home. So I'm going to either press my home key or move my play bar all the way back over to the beginning. I'm going to drop down my little arrow next to snow, and again by transform. And I want to change my opacity from 100% to 10% and hit tab. Now you also have to click the stopwatch to set your keyframe. So now you can kind of see a few of these little snowflakes in here, but they're much lighter. Now if we're to hit play, it would just stay at 10% the whole way. So we need to set our end frame. So again, click on this on your timestamp and type in 8:15. If we just use the end button, it would actually take us all the way to the end over here. Something I didn't point out is right here, you'll see this gray bar across the top. This is showing us how long our composition currently is. This is the entire video that's on there. So we want it to be shorter right at the moment because we cropped it. But it is still there, but when we render it, it'll only go to 8:15. But if we were to play it through, it would play all of it. Okay, now that we're at the end of that little place at 8:15, we're going to come down and change our opacity to 60% and hit tab again. Now if I hit home, if I go to home and I play it, you're going to see the snowflakes coming down. Okay, the last thing we got to talk about is some presets. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in the word winter. So your type tool is right here. It's the giant T, just like in the other Adobe programs. And you're going to type in the word winter. And I'm going to do it all in caps. Again, if you need to, go ahead and pause this, but you can change this to any way you want it. I want it nice and big and bold on here. So I'm going to go, I think I'm just going to do bold. Well, I'm going to change mine to bold. You can change the color. You can change where you place it, but make it nice and big so we can see it. Okay. If you need to pause and come back, go ahead and pause it. Get your letters the way you want them and then come back. Okay. Now that you have winter the way you want it, we're going to set a preset. And you'll see down here on your layers, you have the word winter. So we're going to come up here to effects and presets. And we're going to erase this word snow, and you can just click the little X right there. And we want to do animation presets, this very top one. And then come down to text and animate in. So effect, animation presets, text, animate in. Now here is the entire list of all the different animation and presets they have. And what that means is it's going to animate your text into the slide. So it would be like bringing a title in, okay? The problem with this is you're going to see there's a whole bunch on here that are kind of hard. Like, what is Espresso iChart? What is opacity flicker in? What is these different things and what do they mean? So you could sit here and do a, trial and error and try each one of these, or we can go right up here to these three little lines and click it and do browse presets. Okay, once browse presets pops up, it's going to open in Adobe Bridge. It's a whole nother program. We don't get into a whole lot, but this is a great use for this program. So what it's going to pop up is it's going to look just kind of like this. Right here, you have some little arrows. You can drop them down and you can see preview. If you don't see your little arrows, you can come over to Window and Workspace and find preview. Either way, you need the little preview screen, which is right over here. Okay, what this is going to allow us to do is to do basically the same steps we just did, except for we're going to come into text and we're going to do animate in. Now, if you click on one of these and hit this little button right here, it's going to show you what that preset does. So I had mentioned Espresso iChart earlier. Here it is. If I click on here, you can see it's all crazy like that. It goes doop, 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 doop. Okay, so you can pick which one you want to do. Now, currently with the newest update, and I'll try it again, but with the newest the newest update between After Effects and Bridge, normally what you would do is you would click on it once and it would show it over here. But if you wanted to use it, you could double click it. And see, this is what it's giving us right now. It's popping up this weird little thing that's saying that it's unsupported. I think there's a glitch in the newest update, so just ignore this. If it works, great. And how would you know it would work is that your little After Effects button down here will glow and kind of flash at you. And it would also pop up that effects control for this layer. But right now it's not working, so we're just going to hit OK. And we're just going to force it ourselves. So what you can do is, I'm going to go back up to full screen on this. I can just come over here and find Espresso iChart and drag it over and put it on my word winter. Now I'm going to click down here below, hit the space bar, and you're going to see it's going to kind of bring these letters in. Again, remember, it may seem glitchy at first. Let this green bar go all the way across and play through again a second time. It shouldn't be glitchy anymore. It should work just fine. So I'm just going to let the green bar go across so I can show you how less glitchy it'll be the second time through. See how nice and clean that was? Okay. So now what we need to do is go ahead and render this one so you can submit it again. So let's go ahead and do File and Save, or Control S, just so you save it before we start. Then again, let's go to Composition and add to Adobe Media Encoder. It shouldn't take as long this time because we already have it open. You will then see it right here. It says Mountain Scene. This should match up from earlier since we already used it, and this should match up from earlier because we already used it, but this one will need to be changed. So go ahead and click on it, find your AE Lesson 2. We're going to name it last name AE Lesson 2B. Make sure it says MP4 right here and hit save. Then go up to your little green arrow and click it, and you will see it play right through down here. Boom, there it is. Now, if for some reason anything ever goes wrong with this and you want to stop it from rendering, you can push the stop button right here and it'll stop the process. And you can always delete these off if you have some open that you didn't want open. Okay, so once this is done rendering, I want you to go ahead and submit this. So in the file for this lesson, you should have 2 different files. You should have the dog and snow called lesson 2A, and you should have the mountain scene, which is lesson 2B. Go ahead and submit those. And if you have any questions, please let me know and we will try and get those answered for you. Otherwise, have a good day.